freezing out there. What's up, guys? Thank you for watching. As you know, it's been absolutely freezing out here where I live over these last couple weeks, and it's been forcing me to get a little bit creative with my video ideas. So today's video idea actually came from actual frozen bullets that I found in the bed of my truck yesterday, and they were the 5.45 by 39s that you probably saw in the thumbnail. And I don't want to risk blowing that gun up, so I'm not going to use those, but I am going to bring out a few different calibers here and see if we can recreate that. Now, I was just going to freeze these outside, but it's actually supposed to warm up tomorrow, so I'll probably have to use the deep freezer that we have out here and see if we can recreate the cold winter weather that we've been having here over these last couple weeks, and see if you were to stumble upon a crate of frozen ammo somewhere out in the middle of a war or something like that, if it would work when you put it in your gun. So I got a bottle of water, and like I said, I got several different calibers out here, and what I'm going to do is put these on a plastic tray and just dump a little bit of water over them. Not a lot, just a little bit, enough to get them wet enough to freeze, and put them in the deep freezer for a couple days, and then we will come back and shoot them. Let's do it. Just get a little bit of water on them. Like I said, not a lot. I still want to be able to chamber these rounds, and that's my main concern, is if there's so much ice on them, they won't go into the chamber right. So, all right. All right, 2 days later, let's see what these bullets look like. I can tell already that a lot of these are, frozen onto the plastic. You can see that layer of ice they have stuck to them. So these are definitely frozen, and a lot of them still have some of that moisture that I sprayed on them the other day. So let's go shoot them and see how they work. All right, so I got one of these frozen bullets in my AK-47 magazine, and I'm just gonna shoot one just to see if they work. And I'm starting with the AK because these guns have pretty loose tolerances, and if it doesn't work in here, or if it damages this gun, it will definitely not work in the other guns. So it chambered. Let's see if it fires. I'm probably gonna shoot this one-handed and kind of get it out away from me a little bit. Felt like it worked fine to me, and I think I saw that bullet hit down there, so it ejected just fine, and looks like the AK worked. Cool. All right, let's try the 12 gauge shotgun. They're so cold. When I pick up those bullets, they're like freezing my hands. Let's see if the 12 gauge works. Looks like it worked well to me. All right, let's try the 9mm. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but there is actually ice on the front of that bullet. So it's so cold out here that I could probably leave these outside all day long and they're not gonna melt at all. They're definitely still freezing cold. That one worked, but that shell casing literally just kind of flipped up onto the slide and like rolled off. I don't think that ejected like it normally would, and it kind of felt underpowered. Somebody's shooting back there. All right, let's try the 223 out of the AR-15. And this one's the one that I'm probably the most worried about because these guns have really tight tolerances. So if there's any ice stuck on that bullet or anything, it could cause a problem with the gun. So I'm also gonna hold this one out one-handed, kind of away from my face, just to be safe for this first one. Worked, and locked the bolt to the rear. Cool. All right, so I got like 10 rounds in this Glock 17 mag, and before we move on, I wanna see if I can fire through this magazine without any problems, because I didn't like the way that 9mm felt. Ran just fine. That last round did come straight back over the rear side again and kind of hit me in the stomach, but it cycled through them just fine. All right, guys, I hung up a multi-bullseye target here, and what I want to do now is move back to about 100 yards and see what kind of groups we get with these frozen bullets compared to just regular ammo that's been inside, because obviously when it's really cold outside, your bullet trajectory can change. when the gun is hot versus cold, the bullet trajectory can change. So I'm just kind of curious to see if we shoot frozen ammo and regular ammo, if it will affect the size of the groups or the path of the bullet. Let's do it. All right, guys, I'm out here about 100 yards away from that target that I have down there. And first, we're gonna do the AK-47, and we're gonna start with the frozen ammo, check that group out, and then we will do the regular ammo and compare those groups. Now, this gun does not have a scope or a sight on it at all, so I'm just using iron sights, and I'm really not sure if these things are like dead on or not. So I guess we'll find out. I'll be aiming for that bullseye, but really I'm just kind of focused on the size of the group. All right, let's go check it out. Man, my hands are freezing from touching all that super cold ammo. I might need to put some gloves on. All right, guys, so the frozen ammo group from the AK-47 is right there, and it looks like that's probably our third bullet, and our other two are right there. So definitely not a good group, and like I said, the gun might not be zeroed, which is why they're not more towards the middle, but this is probably a 4-inch group, I would say, maybe like a 6-inch group. I can stretch my fingers to the farthest bullet there, so it's not huge, but it's not great either. So I am gonna go ahead and tape that up, and then we'll step back and shoot the regular ammo and see what kind of group I get from that. All right, now these are out of a fresh box. It's the exact same kind of ammo, but out of a different box. So these have not been frozen solid over the last 3 days. And let's see what the regular ammo does. Let's go check it out. So there is our group with the regular ammo that had not been in the freezer for 3 days, and the group size is about the same, but it is more towards the middle of the target. So it's kind of hard to say if these bullets favoring left and high were because of me. I was aiming in the exact same spot on this target, and I only put the tape on this one because if I had any flyers that came over there, I didn't want to be confused. So, but all 3 of those hit the circle that I was aiming at, and these were high and a couple inches left, so kind of interesting. Like I said, those ones on the first target definitely could have been left and high because of me, and that front sight on the AK at 100 yards covers that entire circle. So it's hard to say that the ammo being freezing cold like that affected the flight path or anything. So I don't know, let's see what we can get with the AR. The AR has a red dot on it, and I should be able to be much more accurate with that. I don't know if you guys can see that, but my hands are bright pink. It's freezing out here. All right, now we're gonna do the 223 out of the AR-15, and we're gonna start with the frozen ammo. And this one has a red dot on it, so I should be able to be quite a bit more accurate with this gun. So let's see what we can get with the 223. All right, guys, so the 223 from the AR-15 is right there. It almost looks like it was vertically stringing as I was shooting. We got one really close to the bullseye here, and then the second and the third, or the second and the third, I'm not really sure what order, obviously, but that is not a very tight group at 100 yards from that AR-15. I have gotten much tighter groups with that same gun at that same distance. So now it is freezing cold out here, and that can affect rifle accuracy as well, but that looks like about a 4-inch group at 100 yards with the AR-15. So definitely not the tightest group I've ever gotten out of that gun. So let's load up the non-frozen 223 and see what kind of group I can get with that. All right, once again, this is the exact same type of ammo that I froze and that we just shot. But this has been inside for the last 3 days, so it was not frozen solid. So let's see what it does. Huh, interesting. Okay, so the group that I just shot out of the AR-15 is right there, and you can see that is about a 1-inch group at 100 yards. So all the shots felt the exact same as they did on the first one that I did up here. All 3 of those shots felt really good right on that red X, just the same as these did. And you can see that these are much closer together, and that is a much better group. So that's kind of interesting. That's not really what I thought was going to happen. I thought that these bullets being frozen like that wouldn't really affect the accuracy and the size of the groups, but it looks like it did. I'm not going to say for sure that that is what caused that first group to be a lot bigger, but like I said, I've done this a lot of times, and all 3 of those shots felt really good, and that's not a good group. So I think that those bullets being freezing cold like that, maybe the powder, maybe the way that the bullet traveled through the air, I'm not really sure, but something caused that group to open up more than the second group that I did with the regular ammo. Now with the AK, it's just not as accurate of a gun, at least my particular AK isn't, and it was a little bit harder to tell with those. The frozen ammo that I shot out of the AK was off to the left and a lot higher, whereas the regular ammo that I shot out of the AK was more towards the middle of the target. But they were both 4 to 5 inch groups, so it's a little bit harder to tell. But with the AR-15, it definitely looks like those bullets being freezing cold like that did affect the accuracy. So kind of cool. In reality, is that gonna affect bullet performance if you were to stumble upon a crate of frozen ammo out in the middle of a war somewhere? Probably not. It seems like it would work just fine as long as it's not covered in ice so much that it won't let you chamber around. But other than that, it'll work just fine, and it definitely is gonna be accurate enough to hit your target at these distances. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and call it a day. It is absolutely freezing out here, and all this cold winter weather lately has kind of been forcing me to get creative, and these are the types of videos that I think of. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Obviously it was just kind of a fun, silly video and seemed like a fun idea to me. So I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun making it. If you guys did like this video, please give it a thumbs up for me. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. So this was obviously a pretty cold video to make, and before I let you guys go, I want to try and heat things up a little bit. I think I got a couple fires to put out. Hope you liked the video, guys. Thanks for watching.